Hi guys, Nick Barta, Security First Financial. I am joined today by Melissa Connor with Start Real Estate. We're going to talk a little bit about the real estate market and down payment assistance and what's available out there. What we've done is we solicited some questions from past clients, from current clients, and just the general public out there. So we're going to kind of take those questions, do a little bit of a question and answer period. But a little bit, first of all, about Melissa. She's one of the top real estate agents in certainly the state of Colorado. We've worked together for,
9 years?
9 years now, so we've had a great partnership in that. Helped hundreds, if not 1,000 probably by now, homeowners buy new homes, and so we're very happy to have Melissa here and happy to have her partnership. So as for me, I'm Nick Barta with Security First Financial. I've been doing it forever, probably 34 years now. I've been in the Denver market for 27 or 28 years of that career, and have seen just about everything. So we're going to run through some of the questions here, and hopefully you guys learn a little bit and get out there and buy a house. So first question we have is, and this is one I get a lot because I work with Melissa. So the first question we have is from an anonymous real estate agent, so somebody who didn't want to put their name on it, but asking Melissa's closed over 100 transactions for the last 2 years, always been a successful agent. Question is, what's your secret? How do you sell so much real estate, especially in this tight market?
There really is no secret. You just have to hustle. You have to get out there. You have to work sometimes 7 days a week, answer your phone, and communicate with agents. If you do that, you're going to beat out multiple offers. It's a tight market, but it's not that tight. There's homes for everybody. You just have to look, and that's the working 7 days a week. You can't wait until a Monday to get out because the house is going to be gone. So I'd say hustle, hustle, hustle.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I work with a lot of real estate agents. The one thing that sets Melissa apart from most of those real estate agents is really her effort level, not just in finding people homes and showing people homes, but once they find a house that they that they're interested in, it's really, she's a terror when it comes to working with those listing agents, and she gets in front of them and she talks to them and she finds out what it's going to take to get them under contract. And we beat out cash offers all the time. We beat out multiple offer situations, and so it's definitely an advantage for us and for the home buyer. So, yep. Thanks. We have a question from here. Greg in Fort Collins asks, do people really use down payment assistance programs, or are they just a marketing ploy to get people to call? So first of all, thanks for the offensive question, Greg. We don't use it as a marketing ploy. However, I do understand that some places do. There's some lenders who don't want to, that don't like to do down payment assistance loans because they quite honestly don't make as much money on them. So they're a little more complicated, they're a little harder, but we do a lot of them. Melissa's certainly well versed in working with home buyers that are utilizing down payment assistance programs. And as far as does anybody use them, I think just last year alone, the estimate is somewhere between 16 and 20,000 transactions involved down payment assistance in the state of Colorado. So people are using it. They are taking advantage of that program or the several programs that are out there. So to answer your question, Greg, if you want down payment assistance and you qualify, it's available.
I would say 90% of my business is down payment assistance.
Yeah,
so.
and look how successful Melissa is. And we get that question a lot too, and I might run into one of these, but how do you be competitive in this market with down payment assistance? And the simple answer to that is you can be, because we prove it every week. We close a lot of these loans. It depends on your agent. And I always think that there's some agents who we talk to and they're like, oh, they're down payment assistance, we're never going to get them under. Quite honestly, that carries through to the way they show their clients and the way they talk to listing agents. And they're right, they probably never will get those people under. But if you work with an agent who's comfortable with the listing agents, with the programs, and a lender that's comfortable with the programs, it just sets you apart. It gives you that opportunity to get under contract. So let's see, we've got one here from William in lovely Aurora, Colorado. I have heard that you need to be a cash buyer in this market to have a shot at getting under contract. Is that true? We kind of just answered that, but I'll let you dive into that a little bit.
I would say no. And the reason is cash buyers usually back out the most. When you have to write a $400,000 check, you're going to get cold feet. I would say finance buyers, you're going to get to the closing table, and that's what you have to tell the listing agent. We're going to close. They have more in it than the cash buyer that can write 30 offers and not have an attachment to the house, and they're usually investors.
Yeah, and I think that listing agents are starting to realize that, especially in our market, in that when somebody has cash and they go out to buy a home, they might put offers in on 7 different properties, and they may, because they're cash buyers, get 4 of them accepted. Then they decide which one of those 4 or which 2 of those 4 they're going to end up actually purchasing, and so. I think that that's part of it too. We have people that are trying to buy homes. Yes, they need financing. However, they're buying homes to live in, and I think that makes them a much more attractive to a seller and to a listing agent. And so we're starting to see that in the market, that it's catching up a little bit, and the cash buyer doesn't just get automatic contracts accepted. So I mean, like we said earlier, we beat out cash buyers all the time, and it's really about the relationships we create with those listing agents and the way we present and Melissa presents our buyers. So we've got one of my favorites, Chad in Denver. Says, my dad, and we always love it when dad, grandpa, grandma get involved, but my dad tells me that I need to save my money and wait until I have at least 20% down before even starting my home search. Is that a good strategy? Well, from my standpoint, I don't think it's a good strategy, because 20% down, if you're buying a $400,000 house, that's $80,000. If you're a young borrower, or even not a young borrower, I don't know about you, but certainly when I was younger, saving up $80,000 wasn't something that was in the cards for me. It just didn't, it wasn't practical to do that. And even if I did that, maybe it takes me 10 years to save up $80,000 and buy my first home. Well, in that 10-year period, especially in Colorado, the market has gone up. It's doubled 3 times, and I've been paying rent for 10 years. And so, I think that those people it's a great idea. If you've got 20% down, absolutely put the 20% down, buy your house. However, that's just not reality for most people, and I think waiting just costs you money. I'm an advocate, especially in Colorado, is if you can own real estate, you should own real estate.
I agree. I'd say let the house get the 20% equity for you.
Yeah, and I think that's something people don't realize, is that, how many people have we done loans for in the last 3 years that have come back to us and they've sold their house and they've taken sometimes $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 in equity they've gained over the last 3 years, and they go buy a house that's double the size of the one that they have, and they end up with the same payment because they put so much money down. So, the Denver market specifically over the last 2 years, granted it's been a hot market, but we're anywhere in between 15 and 22% appreciation. So, a $300,000 house has gained almost $70,000 in just a year. So, owning, in my opinion, is better. I wouldn't wait. So let's see what else we got here. We've got Cindy in Thornton asks, how much money do I need to purchase a home, and how good does my credit score need to be? So we've talked a little bit about down payment assistance programs. Good rule of thumb for down payment assistance, if you're qualifying for down payment assistance, which does have some income qualifications, income limits, and some certain qualifications you have to hit. But a good rule of thumb is about $3,500 plus 1% of your purchase price. So if you're buying a $350,000 loan house, you've got $3,500 plus $3,500 is $7,000. So out of pocket, you're probably looking around 7,000. I would say most of our clients come in somewhere between 3,500 and maybe 7,500 is what they come in out of pocket. In a normal market, the sellers could pay some closing costs and things like that to lower them down. When somebody is in a bind, as a lender and agent, sometimes we can kick in to lower that down as well. But that's kind of a good rule of thumb. As far as credit scores go, down payment assistance programs, whether it is the two main ones that we see most of the time are CHAFA, which is Colorado Housing and Finance Authority, or City and County of Denver and Metro DPA. So the minimum FICO score for CHAFA is 620. Metro DPA likes to have a 640. So if you have those credit scores, and that's your middle credit score of the three bureaus that are pulled, you can qualify for down payment assistance. If you don't need down payment assistance and you have your own down payment, that's great. FHA lets us go all the way down to a 580, still with the same 3.5% down. There's obviously different regulations and qualifications for those different programs. So reach out to us and we can certainly answer any of those questions more specifically. Let's see, this one is for Melissa. It's Julie in Aurora. With the tight market, isn't it better just to rent and things settle back down?
I would say definitely not. While you're renting and paying somebody else's mortgage, you could be building equity, and there's no guarantee with interest rates. You could almost get yourself out of the market by waiting. Prices are going to increase. That's why it's great to buy now, get that equity, get into your first home, and you can get your forever home probably in 2 years. So Start now. Investing is great.
Yep, absolutely. I would agree with that. I think that, and I think as far as the market settling back down, we've been in the market for a long time. Denver's market has never settled down. And we get the question of, don't you think we're going to have a correction and a market crash? Well, we went through the worst mortgage situation meltdown in 2008, 9, and 10. The rest of the country kind of, their values went to nothing. Denver, I think in some areas we lost 10 or 15%. Within 18 months, we not only had gained that back, but we had gained another 15%. So I just don't ever worry a lot about real estate in Colorado. It always seems to hold its value. And renting is just going up. The expense of renting is just getting crazy at this point. When you start looking at just the availability, but you start looking at a one-bedroom apartment that costs you $2,700 a month in rent, you could buy a big house for that. So don't get tricked into the fact that it's a little hard to buy a house right now. It's better to rent. It's never better to rent. Okay. So. Let's see, Matt in Superior. First of all, I hope you're okay, Matt, with the fires and certainly in Superior and Louisville. Our thoughts and prayers are with you guys. But Matt asked, what should I do to prepare to purchase a home in the near future? So
I would say just start saving if you can. Don't be scared. Get your credit straightened out. If you're not quite at that 620, call a credit repair or see what you can do. Pay off any little debt that you have so you can be more competitive in this market, so you can get to the closing table quick. But saving, looking at your credit profile, making sure you are ready.
Sure. And I would add to that, don't change jobs. Get stable on your employment. If you're in a job, don't all of a sudden start your own business, because there's a 2-year history required in that. So there's things you can do there. Look at ways to reduce your monthly debt. If you have a car payment that's $700, but you've been paying on it for a while, there may be an opportunity to refinance that to a lower payment. You want to keep those monthly lower payments as low as you can, because it'll help you in qualifying. So, and like Melissa said, you don't need a ton of money if you use the down payment assistance program, but it's certainly nice to have it in this market, if you end up needing a little extra. So it never hurts. Let's see. This is from Melissa in Loch Bowie. Do I need to be a first-time home buyer to get down payment assistance, and what is considered a first-time home buyer? So some of the programs do require that you be a first-time home buyer, but the majority of them don't have that requirement. So you can have owned a house before and you can use down payment assistance again. But CHAFA's SMART's first step. CHFA's first step program does require that you be a first-time home buyer. All of the other programs that are with Metro DPA and CHFA do not have that requirement. Now, what is a first-time home buyer? That is somebody who has never owned a home or hasn't owned a home in the last 3 years. So if you owned a home with somebody or with your husband 10 years ago, you guys sold it, you've rented for this time, you're still going to be considered first-time home buyers, so you're fine there. Now, if you do own another property, even if that's mom put you on her property just as a beneficiary and your name's on title, unfortunately, that does take you out of being a first-time home buyer. So, let's see. Looks like last question we have here is Joshua in Castle Rock. If we do get down payment assistance, do we have to pay it back, and if so, when? That kind of depends a little bit on the program that you go with. So Metro DPA is available in Castle Rock in several areas, or the metro areas and some areas up north. That is a silent second, which means they give you can get 3%, 4%, 5%, or 6% of your loan amount as a silent second. Can really eliminate how much money you need to have as cash. The drawback is the interest rate does go up as you take more down payment assistance. Now with Metro DPA, the silent second forgives over 36 months. So it starts right away at closing. Every month, 1/36 of it goes away until it is not there anymore. With CHFA, you do end up paying it back. However, they don't charge you any interest and you don't make any payments on it. It just kind of sits there. The only time you have to pay it back is if you sell the property, or if down the road you've got an equity position and it makes sense for you to refinance. When you refinance, you would need to pay that, roll that silent second into your first mortgage and pay it off. We have people do that all the time and they end up saving money still because interest rates either have moved or they eliminate mortgage insurance, things like that. So there are times when you have to pay it back. People ask, well, why wouldn't I just always use Metro DPA if you don't have to pay it back over 3 years? The answer to that is Metro DPA is a tad bit more conservative when it comes to qualifying. So the debt to income ratios are a little bit tighter. The credit scores need to be a little bit better for that. And it's not everywhere in the state of Colorado where CHFA can go anywhere in the state of Colorado. So those are kind of the reasons, but whether you have to pay it back or you don't have to pay it back, at the end of the day, it gets you into a property sooner. So, and then I think just in closing, and I'll leave this up to you, Melissa, just any final thoughts kind of on our market and on, what's going on?
I'd say stop watching the news. You can buy a house. We get people into houses all the time. Just this weekend, we got 4 buyers under contract, all down payment assistance, all multiple offers, and it came down to the communication and buyers ready to go. Mm-hmm. Nick is great at closing loans. We can do it in 21 days. We do it all the time. And having the best lender is really also what makes the difference. He calls these agents. He fights for our buyers just as much as I do. And don't be scared. I get the horror stories, but what if? Luckily with Nick, we don't get those horror stories. So call me, call him. We'll get you out. It's fun. We'll get you a house.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it. It truly is a partnership. We work together really well. And we do hear that too. Oh, down payment assistance, it's going to take you guys 60 days or 90 days to get this done. It doesn't. We do everything in-house. Our underwriting is in-house. Our processing, our closing's in-house. And so we do close loans all the time, even down payment assistance loans in 20 days. So, from our standpoint, I think that I would echo what Melissa said. It is something that people have apprehension to, but I would say don't be scared. Mm-hmm. If you have a dream of home ownership, take those first steps. You can reach out to either of us. We'll have our contact info on this video. You can always apply, which is apply-nickbarta.com, and we can see what we can do. Or you can go to our website, which is lowdowncolorado.com, which is LOW downcolorado.com. So visit us there. There's a lot more information on that. Our phone numbers and contact info will be on there. Reach out to us anytime. And you know what? Go buy a house. Thanks.